Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome to my next episode of Chameleon Cuts. I am super pumped today to have Vanessa Bryan on my show. She is an illustrious chameleon. She's a singer, an actress, a guitarist, a musician, a business owner, and an educator. She's the ultimate chameleon, so let's give her a warm welcome today. Welcome, Vanessa.
Wow, what an intro.
Yeah, girl, that's
Thank you.
you.
Cheers.
Cheers, hey! I have my tea.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for taking the time out to come on my show and talk about your journey. So, I'm going to tell everybody quickly about you, sum up your amazing career into a little paragraph, if that's not even possible. So, you've been featured in Rolling Stone magazine and recently Voyage LA. You've sung with Gwen Stefani and on Lady Gaga's most recent album. You've toured with Idina Menzel from Frozen. You've performed with The Killers. You've been on the Today Show, The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and you've been on Ellen's show. You sang in Love Gun Movie. You've performed on video game soundtracks.
Wow.
And you own your own music school in the Arts District in NoHo. That is amazing.
Oh,
And you
thank
train
you.
students there for Kidz, Bop, and more. Amazing. So I'm super excited to talk to you today about everything that you do, how you do it, and all that goes into it. You're absolutely amazing. You chameleon on the daily. Like it's amazing how many roles that you attain and everything that you do in your whole
You know,
career.
that is true. It's a lot of different roles, but it's really the same concept. You know, if you are a performer, an artist, it's you using your craft, right? Using your talent. So they're all different, but they're all really one and the same.
Sure. So I would love to hear about your journey today, and the topics that I would love to highlight is your personal endeavors, what you've gone through as an artist and as a professional. I would love to talk about session singing and touring and union versus non-union and what that means for some people who don't know. Vocal health and wellness. We're gonna get all of your amazing tips and do's and don'ts and your favorite warm-ups. I want to know also.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. Girl, we're coming to you for professionalism and etiquette in the industry, your secret to continuing to get work and staying driven toward your goals. And then, of course, I want to talk all about Music Lesson LA and you founding that and being the vocal teacher for it and what's in the future for you. So first off, tell us about yourself and where you're from and how you got started on this amazing journey.
All right. Well, I was born and raised in Eagle River, Alaska. It's kind of a small town. It's like within Anchorage, which is the largest city in
Beautiful.
Alaska, but it's kind of like on the outskirts in the valley, you know. So a little small town. I I had a rock band there. I started writing music and just performing out with this band. Um, we weren't old enough to get into the bars or the venues, so we would have to wait in the parking lot and they would escort us in to play. I mean, I just remember just falling in love with singing and writing. And I had a vocal coach there who was very much my mentor. I wouldn't be here really if it wasn't for him. And he just was like, "You've got to take lessons. You're just naturally gifted as a singer." And I'd never heard anything like that. You know, like I was into sports. I was, thinking about dreaming about becoming a lawyer, like all those things. And he started training me and helping me realize, kind of all the different things that I can do with my voice. And every summer, I think towards the end of when I was learning from him, when I was still in high school, he would take me out to Los Angeles for singing competitions. And that's kind of where I really felt like, okay, LA is the place for me. So I always knew I was going to move to LA. And shortly after graduation, I moved to LA and I attended the Musicians Institute and just started working from there.
Amazing. I went there too. That's so funny. I
Oh,
studied
really?
audio. I did. I just for
Wonder-
6 months I studied audio, but
Oh,
I
nice.
love that school and the vocal program too. It's just an amazing environment and wonderful teachers there.
Yes.
Great starting
I'm
point.
one of the best decisions that I made. And also I was like kind of like in the golden age of MI when class sizes were really small and like old faculty that have been there just forever. You know, there obviously things change and get bigger and
Sure.
all that stuff, but I'm happy that I went when I did.
Wow, that's awesome. So, how did you segue into? Because, like, I imagine that along the way, it sounds like you journeyed and kind of pioneered your way through everything. Like, you were. I love your Reverb Nation. First of all, the songs, like, I was listening to
Oh
your. I know.
no.
Listen, I went on. I was
Greta!
like, I love this. I listened to your Reverb Nation for like an hour. I was like, these songs are so good.
I forgot I had a reader. You've really done your homework. Like,
Yes.
by the way, if you're watching this, we never really talked beforehand. Wow.
Yes, this is the
You
first
did
time
your
meeting you. Yes, and I'm so excited to talk to you about everything. But I loved your Reverb Nation. The songs are gorgeous, and I was like, wow, this girl, she's playing her guitar, she's songwriting, she's doing all these different things. And I know from being a singer too, like how many different it's a lot that goes into it. And I saw that you were doing weddings and you were performing, and how our journeys change along the way, right? So did you always have a target in mind, or did things kind of fall into your lap and you were open for the ride and you were like, let's do this? Or what was going through your mind after you graduated at MI?
I feel like when you're really working towards being a singer, you have an idea in your head. For me, my longest dream, my biggest dream in the whole world was to tour. Okay. Just like my whole life, all I wanted to do was tour. And for me, working towards getting on stage, is tough work. You have to network, you have to really put yourself out there. Like I started a band when I was still in school and we were gigging out, and then my teachers started hiring me to sing background for them while I was still in school. So I was really, really working towards just getting out there, getting
Yeah.
experience and being a singer. And I feel like when you have a goal and you really have a vision for yourself, other things that go along with it fall in your lap. So, you know, things will fall in your lap. And I feel like that's a good saying. I've said that before, but it's not because you didn't work for it. You're really
Right.
working towards something. And when you're on this journey, things that are similar will just call to you. So, like I said, I was at MI. I started this band, and we just started performing and writing, and I started doing vocal sessions. I actually started on Craigslist
Wow.
way back in the day, and just being really careful. Craigslist can be kind of a scary
Sure.
place, but going to these sessions, and sometimes you wouldn't really get paid much or even at all, but I always made sure that they made sure that they gave me a copy of what I did when it was finished so I could make a reel. Well, once I had that reel, and I had a lot of kind of word of mouth, I just started getting a lot more session singing work.
Amazing.
A lot of this is word of mouth. So when things just start coming to you, it's because you've really kind of worked for it and put yourself out there. I don't want to negate that whole process because it's so rewarding.
For sure.
But that's kind of how
Yeah.
some of those early things came about. Just kind of like taking anything I could get, and making sure that I had a way of showing that to someone and saying,
Right.
"Listen, I can do these bigger things," and just kind of
Right.
creating relationships.
That's so amazing. So, what can you say about the professional etiquette and like performing as a professional and just being able to navigate and being able to communicate in different environments and meeting different people, and what your interactions are like when you go into a session, and like how one should try to present themselves and communicate and all that stuff, 'cause it's super important for
It is,
new up
yeah.
and
And
coming people.
in my experience, um, preparation. You really want to be the right person for the gig. And even when you've been chosen for the gig, you still want to prove that you are the right person for the gig. And what I mean by that is showing up prepared if they give you, material to prepare. Showing up already warm, showing up with your water, with your coffee, showing up uh, just ready to go, knowing your stuff. Because if you put yourself in these other musicians' positions, they have a lot to worry about on their end. And if they don't have to worry about you, they will want to work with you because they know that you can take care of yourself, that you're well prepared, that you're going to sing on that stage as if it is the most important gig in the world. You know, one of my biggest compliments is from a close friend of mine who is a drummer that I've gigged with for years and years and years.
Wow.
And I'll never forget this. He told me, he said, listen, like Vanessa sings and performs the same as if she's on the biggest stage in the world or she's in someone's basement party. Like you're always going to get 100%. And it's just putting yourself in that mindset to just be the best person for the gig. And it's a constant change. Every gig is different. So you have to kind of mold yourself into being a person that everyone wants to be around, everyone wants to work with, you know?
That's amazing. I think that's so important too. And it's like, even if you're going through stuff on the inside, right? It's like, as a job, you kind of have to check everything at the door once you get there and like turn it on. That's kind of a part of the job. Do you agree with that?
I mean, yeah, I would say be in the moment. And if you do have any type of like something's going on, some type of inner turmoil, use it artistically. You know, just be able, if there's some anxiety there, use that to power or brighten your voice. Use your emotions to kind of push you, because that's what being an artist is. It's about being human and telling a story and using what's within you, you know?
Definitely. That's amazing. Yeah, because it's like you can't always fake that you're not going through something. So why not try to manipulate it in another way, right?
Yeah, and I mean, there's a time and place for everything, especially if you're working with someone new. I mean, there's a job to be done, and you want to make sure that you are present, that you are in a good place to perform this honestly, you know.
Honestly.
And um, there there's something really beautiful about working on something that you're passionate about, you know? And every project is different. I'm not going to say every project is great, you know. Sometimes there's some projects that can be awful experience, but I feel like for me, I'm using my voice. I've prepared for this. I've trained for this. You know, I've lived this. I have experience. So just allowing my instrument to shine, no matter what situation you're in. It's really a mindset, and it's just being able to say, be grateful. You know, I'm grateful that I'm here using my voice. I'm not in some office somewhere hating my life, or you
Right.
know, it's just falling in love with your instrument.
That's amazing. And I love hearing you talk about that. And I think that young performers, young aspiring artists are going to really take that to heart, because I think that it seems like you respect yourself so much, and you know that this is your career. Not only that, you've invested in this, you've trained for this. This is where you belong. So it sounds like you own that and you rock that, and it totally shows. And I think that that's amazing. It's so nice to hear that and learn from that, because it's like, I know it's taken like years and years to evolve to that point, probably because it's like, I read in one of your interviews how you were talking about how, you know, LA can be a competitive place and kind of scary in the music industry, but how you got through that. And can you kind of embellish again a little bit on that, how you just stay focused going toward your goals despite the competition and all that stuff?
Well, thinking about all the gigs you want, and how, I mean, when you create a community here, you get to know a lot of the singers in the community and whatnot. um you just have to understand that not every gig is for you, you know. Even if you want it so bad and you're just like, oh, I just really feel like this is for me, sometimes it's not. So understanding that when you do get a gig that's amazing, that's kind of like a gig with a little bit of sparkle on it, that people look at it and are like, oh wow, you know, when you're there, you want people to understand, you know, you work for this, you got this gig, you're so thankful. And other people might be looking at you too, and all you want to do is be, how do you say, like, you want to be supported by your community,
Sure.
you know. And so when I see other people in my community shine, I know that if I'm in that position, I want to be supported
Yes.
and appreciated for the work I did there. So the competition, it's not really within people, it's really just within yourself.
Mm.
I feel like if you can see past all of that superfluous, competition stuff and just
Sure.
realize that you're going after an audition, you didn't nail this, what could I have done? How can I get better? How can I reach more? Or then you've got a different genre and they're like, "Oh, right away. Okay, so maybe my energy lends itself more to a rock genre." And it's just kind of testing your strengths, your weaknesses, working on your weaknesses and putting forth your strengths. So competitively, I think that you want everyone in your community to rise, especially, if you know them and they're, incredible artists. And when you're in that community, you guys are one and the same. So everything that
Right.
you do, it's got to be really personalized internally as to how am I going to prepare for this gig? How am I going to be part of this gig? How can I, become. It's almost as if you're performing outside of the performance because you want to be the best person for that gig. And that's one of the great things about being an artist, being a performer, is that you have the ability to kind of change your kind of like how you present.
Right.
And it's still very honest part of you. All these different ways that you can present yourself in these different situations are all a part of you. And you just
So
learn
true.
from experience in those situations, kind of like the protocol and how to be and
Sure.
did I
It's
answer
amazing.
that?
Yeah, everything you're saying is so valid. I love just letting you talk because it's just like,
Sometimes I
yeah.
feel like I just talking and talking. I'm like,
No,
wait,
that's what this is for. That's what this is for. I want to hear you talk this whole time. But yeah, everything you're saying is so amazing, and your voice is glorious. It's so glorious and beautiful. And I would love to know, along the way, did you pick up new tips and like, was there anything that talking about being in competition with nobody but yourself? It's like, did you challenge yourself in any new ways? And
oh yeah. I, I gotta. One of the most important things to do is put yourself outside of your comfort zone and trust your instrument, especially when you have a passion for something. Let's say you didn't train, for many years. Say you didn't go to music school. Say you just have this passion, um, and you have a love for being a vocalist. So you want to put yourself out there. You want to get out there and do these things. You got to have confidence in yourself. So I would say if somebody offers you something, just say yes, because you're going to learn. For example, in the session singing world, I had a moment. I've been working with this producer for a while, just like working on these songs for this show.
sure.
And he was like, "Listen, we have a scene where we need a Bollywood voice. Can
Mm.
you do it?" And there's no time to like really talk about it. I'm thinking, okay, do I trust myself to try this and get close to this? And immediately I'm like, yeah, I got you. Let's do this. And then for
Woo!
the next 3 days before that session, I am listening to Bollywood music. I'm trying to match the vowels and match the tone and match the vibrato and all these different things. And I'm kind of just putting it in my body so that when the time comes for the session, I can do this. And I'm freaking out like, oh gosh, I've never done this before. But I at that point had trusted my instrument enough to be able to say yes to this gig. And
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I mean,
yeah.
like, you have the training, you have the chops, and to back it up. So it's like trusting that. And again, going back to what you were saying about being prepared and all of that stuff,
Mhm.
and you know, it's,
And I
that's
mean,
awesome.
no one is like you. No one sounds like you. So back to like the comparing and the competition,
Right.
you know, y your voice is not everyone's cup of tea, but the passion behind it can really create a sound and a moment and a performance that will just capture people's hearts, you know? So it's all inclusive, trusting your instrument and putting work in and having confidence and telling the story and being able to get out of your head and think about the audience first. And it's a lot of basically just trying to be the right person for the moment, you know?
And I think practice also probably, would you agree? Just the more you do it, the more you get used to throwing yourself out there and like getting out of your comfort zones, you know, if you're a beginner or whatever, if you just still haven't mastered feeling fully confident on stage.
Yeah.
Um, it's like you
I
said,
mean,
just take those
preparation is
jobs.
key. It
Preparation.
really is. Like, I'm gonna tell you about my weekend because my
Yes.
weekend's been really crazy. So, obviously, this past year has been really not great for live performance. So,
Right.
I am a vocal coach, and my entire student roster went online. We went online immediately, so we really didn't, uh, skip any weeks or anything. I
Amazing.
working online. Now, when you're online, you can't do things at the same time. It has to be, I have to do it because of a little bit of a delay. So I found myself doing my vocal exercises with every student every day. So I was exercise doing, and I don't do this normally. Like I don't normally do my vocal exercises every day. I'm gigging so much. I just feel like I'm singing enough.
Right.
So, come to this weekend, I had a Kidz Bop Workshop weekend where I teach for about 6 hours straight. And then the next day I teach another 6 hours straight. And then I went straight to a gig. And I have these crazy screaming, like Rolling Stones songs and Free and all these rock tunes. And normally I would just be so exhausted and not you have to change things around to perform a little bit more comfortably and all those things.
Sure.
And I was just wailing. I could have had another 4 hour gig after that. And I'm realizing
Wow.
what was different. And it was the fact that I was training my voice every single day consciously, as opposed to just, all the gigs I do singing, singing, singing. I was consciously training and doing these exercises and these stretches and whatnot, and that blew my mind. I was like,
That's
wow.
unbelievable. Like the vocal stamina, and you put yourself in a position where you're able to um, meet all of that work and be healthy and not be totally strained afterward as a result, and then be suffering like over the weekend, because we don't want that, because super dangerous, right? Overworking the voice. But that's amazing that you could sing even that much more after
I was
that.
like, wow, I maybe I should be doing my exercises every day.
Yeah, I guess. Oh my gosh.
It was a trip. It was a trip, but that was
That's
something cool that
unbelievable.
that I noticed yesterday.
Yeah, so congrats on finishing the Kids Pop workshops. I know you just wrapped up, right?
Thank you.
But
Yes,
yeah, let's
yes.
talk about that. Talk about Kids Pop, and let's talk about Music Lesson LA. And I'll pull up the
Okay.
website as you're discussing. Okay, let's go
All
for it.
right.
Yeah.
Um, what's funny? When I opened the school, I actually opened a Yelp as businesses that have an actual building, location, all that stuff
Sure.
too. And Kids Bop found me on Yelp.
Wow.
They found me on
Guys.
Yeah, they looked me up and then, found my Instagram and all of that. And basically, the person from Kids Bop that hired me was like, I was looking at all your stuff, but I saw your stories and I saw how you are. And I just thought she's perfect. And I was like, I wasn't really, what was I doing? I was thinking back to my stories and I'm just talking about something random, but my personality is like, I knew you were going to be perfect for these kids. So I was like, okay, well, score Yelp. That was awesome.
That's amazing, because as soon as I saw it that you were affiliated with Kids Bop, I was like, oh my God, she seems so perfect for this. Like, And you seem so happy when you're working with the kids and they are so engaged with you and they're sharing all the pictures that you guys take together and they're having so much fun. I was like, wow, like I would love to hear you talk more about the experience of teaching and what that's been like for you and the whole journey with that.
Well, I mean, this is one of those things where I would say teaching and the school fell in my lap. This is where I would use that because that's what I say. But I had been training for so long, especially with my mentor, and I was working at this recording studio, not working, but I had a kind of a team of friends that we kind of used this recording studio quite a bit, and they would hire me for background vocal sessions and whatnot. And the owner of the studio came up to me one day and was like, "Hey, two of my clients, they wanted vocal lessons, so I signed them up with you. So how's next week?" I was like, "What? Like, I don't what? I don't want to. What are you talking about?" I'm freaking out. I was like, "Do I know how to teach? I don't know how to teach." Da, da, da. And that was in the moment where I was just like, "Just trust
Just do it.
yourself.
Yeah.
Just say yes. Just try it." I was like, "Okay, okay, okay." I was like, "I got you. I'm gonna do it." He's like, "Listen, use the live room in the studio. I'm not gonna charge you anything. Like, get other students. Like, just build like." So he gave me the opportunity to build a business. But when I'm talking about preparation, I called one of my friends. I said, "Listen, I haven't really done that. Let me give you lessons for the next, couple days until this lesson so that I can practice with you, like learning how you respond and these exercises, testing them." Because I wasn't really like doing my exercise. I wasn't in the mindset, you know. So I practiced with my friend, and then I started giving lessons, and their parents started telling these parents, started telling these parents, started going, and we ended up opening our own location. Me and those guys. It was a recording studio and music school in one. And we were in Van Nuys for a year. Then I found this location in NoHo, and we moved in, and we've been there for, oh gosh, like 7 years now.
Unbelievable. Oh my God. Huge congratulations on that. That is
Thank you.
amazing. That is so cool. That's
But
so
that's the
cool.
thing, like
Let's look
it
at your
all just
website.
happened. That was never on my
Right.
radar, but what was on my radar lent itself to that, That's how I feel. Uh,
Unbelievable.
it was,
You
it
were
was,
open to it. So it's like,
yeah.
I love that. Here we go, girlfriend. So, love it. Beautiful. So not only do you give voice lessons at Music Lesson LA, there's drum lessons available, there's guitar lessons available. I
Yeah,
saw
we're,
bass also, piano.
yeah. Yeah, we're actually going to be launching all the instruments as well as recording classes, songwriting classes, all that.
So
It's just,
exciting.
for me, it's difficult just because I don't have a partner within this business, so it's just a lot of work. So we've been open as a voice studio. We just are starting to open the drums and guitar.
Amazing.
And then eventually, all those tabs will be in there for all the other instruments and recording and whatnot.
I love it. And it's like, one thing at a time and you'll get there, and everything happens for a reason and along the way and you just enjoy the journey. You've got so much going on. So it's like everything's gonna, like you said, just fall into your lap and it's all gonna be amazing in due time. I'm so excited for you. I love your logo here too. Music Lesson.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Yes. And so Wallflower Recorders is the studio that you're affiliated with, that you kind of work with. I saw it on your Instagram.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wildflower.
Wildflower. I love that
And
name.
those are my friends that we were all working in this one studio together just over a decade ago. Like, and we came together and it just happened so beautifully. Like
Yeah,
it was meant to
organically.
be. Yeah.
I love that. That's amazing. So for the Kidz Bop Workshop, what are some of the things that you go over in the Kidz Bop Workshop? Because there's a lot of people that watch my show in New York, and the fact that you're available virtually is
Yeah.
amazing. The fact that we can do this virtually is amazing. So
I
would
know. I
love
love
you to
it.
talk about it.
I didn't realize you were in New York.
Well, I'm from New York, but I'm in NoHo.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
have a
Awesome.
home watch the show in New York and who are interested in getting involved in the industry and they're young or they're green, and it would be awesome to hear about your program. And
all right, yeah, I've got some students actually in New York.
oh my God,
Yeah.
amazing.
So, Kids Bop Workshop, it's basically, for young kids. Kids Bop is this major kids brand, with these kids who are incredible singers and performers. They create these albums, they go on tour, they're doing these music videos, and they create kid-friendly content based on the hit music of the day. So they, if your kids like to listen to pop music, or adorable, just the popular music on the radio, this is a way for them to listen to it, where it's the words are changed. There's no like weird connotations. They just make it fun and young. And these workshops started actually a couple years ago. I was actually traveling to each city and doing these workshops with the Kids Bop choreographer. So it's me as the vocal coach and the choreographer. And so we take in these classes of kids from like 5 to 16, and we have it like age bracketed, and they come in and I teach them warm-ups. I teach them about their voice, what it's called. Did you know that you can sing from your head and your chest and your stomach, and just kind of like show them all the different parts of their body that they can use when they're singing. And then we go and learn how to sing a Kids Bop song, learning how to the verse and then the pre-chorus and what that even is. So it's kind of like all around just a fun class for kids to learn about songs and music. And then for the second hour, the Kids Bop choreographer goes on and they teach them how to dance to the same song. So it's just a really cool weekend for the kids, and it's online now, and it's on a platform called outschool.com.
Awesome.
So
it's like a 3-day workshop or a 2-day workshop?
It's a 2-day workshop.
Okay, and what's the schedule typically like? Does it start in the morning and then maybe in an afternoon, or?
Yes, it starts early in the morning. The thing is that for the kids, they're only getting an hour with me and an hour with the choreographer.
Got it.
For one day, and then the same day next. So I've got this group of kids, and it switches over to a new group, then a new group, then a new group, so it's I'm getting different group of kids every hour. So they're getting 2 hours a day for the weekend.
Awesome. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Great. So can you say the website one more time for people who want to check it out? And I'll be sure to edit it into the video also.
Yeah, sure. So it's on outschool.com, and you just look up how to be a Kids Bop kid.
Awesome. Love it, love it, love it. Amazing. Okay, Vanessa, I need to know, what are some of your tips for vocal health and wellness when you're on tour, when you're singing, all those long hours? What are some do's and don'ts that you kind of live by, or credos as a vocalist, things that you do, rituals? I want to know it all. Let's hear
all
it.
the rituals.
All the weird stuff. I want to hear it. And the favorite warm-ups too. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. When you're on the road, or if you've got like a lot of work coming up, for me, warm liquids. I drink a lot of warm liquids. I drink more coffee than I should. But for me, coffee is one of those things. It gives me like, I'm ready. Tea is not.
It doesn't help me.
Have never been able to. Yeah. I've just never been able to enjoy the taste of tea. So for me personally, I drink black coffee. I drink a lot of water. Being hydrated is really important for your cords. So sleep is difficult, especially when you're on the road and you're in a new place, and you kind of want to be able to see a little bit of each town you're in. I try to sleep as much as I can. I know that when I was doing the touring, I would go to sound check, and then I would actually go back into the bunk or the room, wherever we were, and I would take a nap. I would take a nap. So I would try to sleep before the gig. It's different on, every type of gig that you're in. but getting enough sleep, hydrating, warm liquids, and lip trills are just everything to me. Lip trills are incredible. It doesn't matter what size stage I'm on. It's lip trills. I always start with that, even before I answer the phone, even before I answered the Zoom call. You know, that really frees me up, and stretching my mask. You know, buzzing from my mask and stretching that out is a big part of kind of my signature voice. You know, and that's kind of what makes me feel warm all around. Um,
Because when
well,
you're
for
doing
her,
those Idina Menzel songs, right? That's big stuff, big rangy stuff, lots of here
yes.
and there. So like you're working that out. It's not the
Well, the
same
cool
thing.
thing, yeah, the cool thing about Adina is, um, we have very similar kind of energies about our voice, but our sound is very different. So with Adina, it was a cool flex to just really support her in a way where I'm kind of con- creating a sound that is similar and
Complimentary, like
complements,
complimenting.
thank
Yeah.
you, complements her voice, because she is an icon that has this voice that you know immediately it's her. You know, so that is one of the greatest things about uh being a vocalist, is just being able to form my voice into something that gives her kind of like a pillow to just,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
do her thing, and it just kind of slightly supports her underneath. And that's
Oh my
been just a
gosh.
great joy. But she does sing incredibly high notes, and I've got to be on it. You know, I've got to be there for her. So just those long mask stretches, those lip trills, just warming up the voice. I love having coffee. I have to drink a lot of water to balance it out because it can be very drying. But those are kind of my things.
Amazing. And I love the duet you guys do of Take Me or Leave Me. Amazing. So
Oh
much
yes,
fun.
those were
So
the
much
days. I
fun.
loved it. Yeah, I loved that. What an
Incredible.
honor. What an honor
Oh, it's
to be
so
able to
fun
do
to
that
watch
with
you
her.
guys together on stage. I was watching some of the videos online. It's just amazing. You know, she's totally iconic, but seeing you shine and like you said, compliment her and support, it's amazing. It's you're working together and it's like you're making each other stand out, and I love it. I think female duets are like, I
Ah,
love, incredible.
it's the energy on stage when we were doing that number. It's just electric, you know, and musicians, I don't know, I think most people know this if they've been on stage with a live band. You feed off of each other, you know,
Yes.
and every night is different, and it's just the best experience of my life to be able to tour with her and do those numbers. Just
Oh,
still, I'm like, oh my
amazing.
god, did that really happen? Did that
Oh,
happen?
huge
Yeah.
congrats again on that.
Thank
And quick question, back to the warm up. So how long would you advise is healthy to warm up the voice? What do you think about that?
My when I'm talking to my students and they're getting ready for a gig, this is what I tell them. I tell them, um, wake up 2 hours before you even start really warming up, because you want your voice to wake up. When your body is sleeping, you wake up, you're still a little bit groggy. You know, all your whole body is your instrument. So when your muscles are still trying to wake up, it makes it more difficult to kind of warm up. So I would say give yourself 2 hours, then slowly start warming up. I would say maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Then rest, hydrate, and then keep yourself warm by just constantly doing a little bit of a lip trill and then a little bit of a stretch, because you don't want to tire yourself out before an event, you know.
For sure. Amazing. That's amazing advice. Thank you so much. So, can you talk more about session singing and what the environment is kind of like in terms of who you're communicating with, like the producer, or is there a vocal contractor that you work with when you go, you know, what are you getting beforehand? Is it sheet music? Is it lyrics? And then you talk about union versus non-union and what your journey with that's been, and any info that you can share with us about that.
Okay. Every session is different. Just like there are different types of recording studios. Some are very massive and like palaces, and some are another room in the house. They're all just so very different. um I feel like in terms of um what did you say, is
Like communicating and like kind of the dialogue that might happen between you and a producer or a vocal contractor once you get to a studio, and if you get stuff beforehand or if you're just thrown into things.
got it.
Yeah.
um Sometimes you have a vocal contractor, uh and you're just kind of there to be what they need. So if you have a vocal contractor and you don't really have a relationship with them, it's basically maybe word of mouth. Someone gave you their number and they're looking for a singer, so you just really want to be respectful, and if what they want from you, they'll tell you. If you have any questions, you just ask and you make uh changes kind of on the spot. So what you want to do is just really be the voice that they want you to be. Now, there's another type of gig. Like I do a lot of singing for the Sims video game. So
So cool.
there are a lot of different genres. So they want basically you singing in the voice of a certain genre, with this crazy language that you kind of have to feel out. It can be work like that, but then sometimes you have someone that's just like, hey, I wrote this song, I want to submit it, whatever, but I love you do you. And I love those sessions when you can just do you and you can put your own spin on it. You can do your own runs, you can do your own flavor. You put your own little flavor on it. Like there's that gig, and that's kind of one of my favorites.
Sure. Put
And then
Vanessa special sauce on it. Love it.
yeah. And it's just knowing that if you're going in and you know this person and you know how you work, then you kind of more get comfortable with that.
For
With
sure.
a what did you say it was, union?
Producer or yeah, union versus non-union, sure.
Union work. I love union
Ah.
work.
Oh, tell us why. Love.
For me, I'm part of SAG-AFTRA.
Okay.
So, doing these shows, especially with Gwen, I think I did most of my union work with her. Doing these shows, say for example, Ellen. Say we're
Uh-huh.
doing Ellen,
Okay.
and not people. Many people might know this because I just learned this. If you're singing, you get a specific type of rate. If you're also holding a tambourine, your rate changes. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
It's kind of one of the things. How many mics are on you? It really takes care of you, and it tracks. So I did a lot of Christmas work with Gwen. So when those things air again, union wise, I still receive payments for those appearances.
Amazing.
So I really enjoy that type of work, and a single session, say coming in, I was contacted by a vocal contractor for the Lady Gaga, Romantica.
Yes. Huge
Going into
congrats on
that,
that too. Amazing.
yeah. And it was a choir. We had a choir there, so some people I knew and some people I did not. And you just know to just let me be what they need me to be, and that's kind of the way of that gig. But being there for the time that I was there, it's counted, and it's counted for a specific rate under the union, and it's a great, it's good money. I really enjoy. I guess that's just a big roundabout a way to say that I really enjoy
Yeah.
union work.
Very
And then
cool.
non-union work is very fulfilling. Non-union work is fulfilling as well, and also it's you have to negotiate your rate. So
Okay.
so it's always, when it comes to gigs, any type of gig,
Yeah.
there's, hey, we're offering this, and then there's, okay, yes, I'll take that. Or there's, I'm in a place where this is where I'm at with this, and they decide, okay, we're gonna meet you there, or we can't meet you there, and then you have a decision. So every gig is kind of negotiated in that way.
Can you talk a little bit more about that and like how to kind of gauge and navigate around negotiating a rate and just some sort of starting points for people who are, are not really sure or it's kind of a funny thing. Can you
Yeah.
throw out any numbers or any advice about that?
This goes back to the conversation of being confident and trusting your instrument, but also preparing and your experience. So this kind of changes in a way. Like I said, I was doing work for almost nothing in the beginning because I had nothing. I had no experience. I had nothing. Then as you get experience and you start really trusting your instrument and you start having this confidence, okay, I know I can do this because I did A, B, C, and D.
Right.
You start thinking, okay, this is how I feel my time should be compensated. Okay. And you start working there, and then you start getting work, that's handed to you where they offer you a rate, and you're like, okay, this is kind of, I think, more the industry standards. You up your rate to that because okay, so this makes sense. And then it's just kind of a way that you're just living at a place. You have usually a rate where it's just like, this is the minimum that I'm willing
Right.
to accept for this. And I think that that's really important too. Paying your dues, but also getting to a place where you're not going to accept less than what you're worth, because that's a huge thing in the musician community, is not getting paid or not getting paid fairly. So I think it's
Totally.
negotiating between all of these different type of gigs. It is different. It depends every time. But if you can find what your rate is, say for an hour or say for a day, and just say, this is the minimum that I will
Right.
accept. And then upping it as you become more like, okay, I understand my time. I understand what it's worth. I understand that, this is kind of where I need to be. It's just
Like sticking to
obviously,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
take all you can, but the thing is, the more work you take, the more you're going to understand where the standard is in the industry and where it is that you land around that.
Sure. Now, do you feel that it's acceptable and professional to ask what's the if people say what's your rate? Do you ever ask what's the budget on the project? If it's
That's
a trailer or
absolutely,
something, is that fair to?
absolutely, that is absolutely acceptable. Just, if they you're talking money, you're like, hey, listen, like, what is your rate for something? I said, well, you know, what is your budget for this project? I have a specific rate, but would be willing to work around your budget. So what is it that you know you're offering for this
Sure.
position? So if it is much lower than what you said, just say, well, listen, like, where I am is right here. Would you be able to meet me there? And then you can take it. Or if they're budgeting it, it's like a big thing. It's going to have a lot of plays and it's much higher. Then you're like, I'll definitely take that. You've really got to feel
Sounds
it out. You've got to become comfortable with talking about rate and your money. And that was hard for me in the beginning, because you just want to, you're an artist, you just want
Yeah.
to be cool and you want the experience. But then
Totally.
you get to a point where you're a businesswoman, and this, you're exchanging your talent, you're exchanging your time, which you'll find out becomes more and more and more valuable, as you get older.
Sure.
And you
And you're
just,
valuable. You're valuable at the end of the day. You've worked and invested, and you've also paid to train, and you've put in the time and the work. So you should be compensated for that. And I really think that lifting up the musicians community like this and just talking about don't be ashamed of it. This is a
yeah,
job. It's beautiful, and it's a really important conversation.
it is.
Talking
You'd
about
be
this stuff up front
surprised.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
in the
You'll be
beginning.
surprised if you ask for it. You'll be surprised how many people are willing to, honestly willing to pay you what you're worth. Pay you not, pay you for how you value your time.
Right.
When I built my business, I'm still paying it off. You have to get a business loan. Like, we have a building, we have construction, we have all this stuff. I had to really think about how much I put into that, and what is it worth for me to take, how I gave everything to put all this love into this building that is supposed to help build up singers and artists and performers, and
Heck yeah.
so that helped me realize that I put so much into that. I deserve to be compensated for how much I give.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's amazing and so empowering to hear. Like, you've no idea. I mean, I know that so many people who watch my show are going to be so inspired by that alone because, I mean, how often are we even just discouraged from pursuing this industry because of lots of things that people say about it and, like, doesn't pay and all this stuff. And it's like, no, it can pay, but you've got to be confident. You've got to do your homework. You've got to study. You've got to be prepared and all these things that you're talking about. So this is such valuable information, Vanessa. I think it's amazing that you're sharing all this and all these insights. And I want to ask you in a little bit more detail and technicality about vocal sessions. Are you experiencing more of kind of a verbal dictation, like being told by the producer, whoever's running the session, okay guys, now sing this note and that note, or this is the line, or da da da, or are you getting sheet music? And is it required to be able to read sheet music to be working in the union on these fast jobs where you're kind of thrown into it and it's last minute, usually? How does that work?
I find that it's most normal for you to go into a session with the producer or the artist or whoever, like whoever's doing it, to send you the lyrics and an MP3 of a demo vocal. I find that that's the norm. You can listen to it and you read the lyrics and then you just prepare. I have my singer's shorthand where I, make the little the melody ticks and all that stuff. I find that it's
yes.
yeah, I find that it's less often that I receive sheet music, fairly rarely.
Wow.
And there's the, like, let's talk about with the one of my big sessions with Gaga.
Yeah.
We didn't even know who we were singing for. We had no lyrics. We had no idea what we were doing because of the NDA. We had to sign it.
Wow.
Or all those things. Now that it's out, woo! But going in sometimes just because of they don't want anything to get out. You don't really even know. You can't prepare. All you can do is warm up and,
So funny.
that's it. So everyone is different. You can't really. Every situation is different, but I do find that more often than not, sometimes you'll just get an MP3 of the song with either the melody tapped out or the songwriter trying to sing the melody and be like, it's kind of like this.
Right.
You just really are. The more you do it, you're going to be thrown into all these different scenarios, and
Right.
that's the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah. That's amazing. Okay. So what's in the future for Vanessa? What's coming up for you? What can we look forward to and expect?
Oh, the future. What's in the future? I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I know that I am dying to get back on stage. Things are starting to open up, I love my wedding gigs. I love my restaurant gigs. I love my studio gigs. I love my teaching gigs. It is just a way for me to use what I love. So that's the good thing about it. I am hungry for work. I would love to go on tour again, but who knows? That's probably going to be the last industry to open up. I have never put out a record. Ever.
Well, that needs to happen.
It does. It's funny. I've said this in interviews before, even years ago. I have a lot of, I don't know. I get very nervous. I have a lot of fear. I mean, I'm so confident with everything else now, but there's so much fear with putting my own original music out there. So I feel like this is gonna be a good year for putting out some original music. So
Amazing. yeah, it's like getting naked, that's what it is. I mean, you're not somebody that does things half ass. You really go all in with everything you do. So I know you're gonna write amazing music and tell awesome stories, and be
Yeah,
super
I
real and
hope
raw
so.
about it.
I
Oh
feel
my
like I actually
gosh.
had this conversation with one of my friends, my co-owner of the studio,
Sure.
and I was just like, if I were to get sick, if I were to have minimal amount of time or whatnot, my only regret is that I never put out a record after all these years, after all these years of building, and my only dream was touring. By the way, it took me over 10 years in the industry to get a touring gig.
Wow.
Imagine if I would have just given up.
Oh my
Giving
gosh.
up was
See
not
this?
a
This is so
it,
important to hear though. It's amazing. And it's like
yeah.
like people watching this interview might think like, oh, like it's so easy. Like she just did a couple steps and got there, but it's like 10, 11 years. That's a decade, guys.
Grinding
This is
to
like,
get that,
yeah. And the
you know?
relationships and the people who I'm sure remembered you along the way and like your
Yeah.
energy and your positivity and your professionalism. It's speaking volumes now, especially. I mean, it's great that you have so many accolades, but there's so much other work that you did to get to where you are. The weddings, all the restaurant gigs, all that stuff. That is like where all the chops are really built in such a
Hmm. Yes,
serious
that's
sense.
true.
Like those are the
Don't
right?
don't look down on those
Don't
kids.
shice those.
Like the reason this is a funny story. The reason that I started touring is me and my friends made some 90s band. We were working a lot, but we just
Love
made
it.
this 90s band that we performed for fun. We performed for fun at this barbecue bar where they fed us in beer and barbecue, and we would do it once a
Listen.
month because we all love 90s music,
Yeah.
and that's where I was seen, and I was on tour months later.
So fun. See,
You
being
just gotta
open
do,
and being
you
present
gotta
and
love it. You gotta find a reason to always love it. The moment you're like, then you gotta change your mindset because you're just, you know, you're just putting yourself down and you're putting yourself in a place where things aren't going to be attracted to you. You have to just always fall in love every day with your work and be thankful and be humble and listen and put yourself in other people's shoes so that you can perform to the best of your ability and be the right person for the gig.
oh, it's so beautiful to hear you talk, Vanessa. Really, it is. And it's funny. I was talking to another singer named Xenia, who she's been touring with Justin Timberlake as a backup singer for many, many years, and she was kind of saying the same thing. She was just like, I manifested positivity and kept working and being kind to people. And she's like, I put myself on. Like I made relationships, but I've also just I've continued to strive. And she's like, sometimes the law of attraction, if you keep like trying to bang people's doors down and trying to like she was talking a lot about manifesting and about being and kind of letting things come to you, like still pursuing things, but also like letting go in this kind of resolute, confident, like you're talking about kind of way. I think there's
Yeah.
a lot to be said about that. That's what you're talking about here too. It's so nice and inspiring to listen to you amazing women talk about this, and I'm so happy to have more women on my show. It was just Women's
Aw.
History Month. Yeah,
Yes,
so oh
right?
my gosh, so happy to have you on the show and so excited to see all the things you're going to continue to achieve, and I'm sure you're going to be on tour again soon. It's gonna happen. It's gonna come back. You were just weren't you just away gigging also like a weekend ago or something? I saw
Huh,
on
what was I
Instagram
doing? Oh, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
singing.
That was my first live show after the shutdown a year
How did
ago.
it feel?
Oh my gosh, I was
Oh,
so happy. I was so like it was just all, for most of the band it was their first time on stage too. So we were all just like,
oh.
oh, you know, and
Yay!
live playing chops, maybe we missed the bridge one time on this song, maybe we missed a change on this, but you pick it up so quick. It's just like, okay, it's been over a year. Let's, it's all right. And we just kind of had
Yes.
each other's backs, and that's the beautiful thing with just working with musicians you've worked with for years and years. Like,
Mm.
it's like coming back together like that, Palm
Beautiful.
Desert. Yeah.
Nice.
That's where it was. Next weekend, I'm in Laguna Beach,
All
and then the weekend
right.
after that, I'm in the OC, and then I'm back to Alaska, and then I just teach remotely and do sessions remotely until I get back to LA.
Amazing, amazing. I love this conversation. I've learned so much today with you, and it's been so inspiring to hear you talk.
Thank
So now,
you. Thank
yes,
you
of
for
course.
having me.
Of course, it's oh my gosh, it's my pleasure. I mean, you're like the perfect fit for my show because you're just proving how it's like you're proving the thesis of the show, which is like you have to chameleon and you have to be open, and it's like you've done so many
Mm.
different things. You challenge yourself along the way, and in so many different areas and endeavors and teaching, like from just being the performer to teaching. Those are actually significantly different. Have
Mm.
similar things, but I think that definitely it's like a whole. It's another way of looking at it,
Yeah.
and appreciate. It's this whole other thing. So I love it, and I think it's going to really inspire people and really educate people who watch my show and really don't know all the things that go into this job and this career in this industry and everything there is to know about it. And you've explained and shed so much light on so many things that I feel like a lot of people would not know about otherwise. So thank you so much for all this insider information. It's very, very
Of
awesome. It could
course.
be top secret, so we very much appreciate it. So it is time for some trivia. Are you ready, girlfriend?
Oh no. All right,
So
hold
I'm
on,
gonna
hold
time
on.
for 1 minute. Just taking a drink.
I have no idea what you're even
I got you,
asking
girl.
me, so now I'm all
Oh,
nervous.
no, don't be nervous. It's super fun, like easy, casual stuff. Like it's gonna be super fun. It's not gonna
Okay.
be like crazy. It's not gonna be
Okay.
political or anything like stupid.
Whew.
No, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be super
I'm getting
fun.
competitive. All right, here we go. Whew.
No. So I'm gonna ask you. It's gonna be like an either or thing. So I'm gonna be
Okay.
like pizza or this or whatever, and then you just let me know what your first organic response is and what comes to you naturally. The first thing, okay?
Okay.
You ready, girlfriend?
I'm ready. Lay it on me.
Setting the timer. No. So, coffee or tea, Vanessa?
Coffee.
Coffee. Established that before, right? Okay. Italian or Thai?
Ooh, Italiano.
Italiano. Very nice. Molto bene. Celine Dion or Whitney Houston?
How dare you make me choose? How dare you? I have thought very hard on this, by the way, specifically. Celine Dion is my girl. But Whitney Houston really taught me to say, like, it's hard. It's hard.
I'm right there with you. It's hard. I know.
Love them both.
Love them both. Love them both. Both
Celine
queens. Next
is my
question.
girl.
Yes. Okay, you're gonna get mad at me for this question too. Rent or Wicked?
Well, oh no. Okay.
We'll add another minute.
Oh, okay. Saved by the Bell. Woo! They're both amazing.
They're both amazing.
I actually let me just say I loved singing the duet Take Me or Leave Me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I will throw that out there. I'll just say
Okay. All right. All right.
that was a
We'll take
wonderful
that.
experience.
Love it. Okay. Next one is Josh Groban or Andrea Bocelli.
Wow. Okay. If it's just vocally, ooh, I love Andrea Bocelli. I love. Josh Groban is a more warm, kind of a little bit more of a poppy thing, which I also love.
Yep.
Um, yeah.
Good questions, right?
Really good. Okay, I'm gonna start answering them. I'm sorry, I'm being really. I'm just gonna go this. Okay, I'm ready.
No, you're totally fine. One more minute. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Here, how about performing on dynamic mics or condenser mics? What do you prefer?
Condenser mics.
All right. All right. Rock it out. Love it. How about electric guitars or acoustic guitars?
I play better on an acoustic guitar,
All right.
but I love electric guitars. So I have to give it up to my acoustic because that's what
Hey, very
rock.
cool. Very cool. All right, singing in the shower or in the kitchen?
Ooh, kitchen.
Ah, good acoustics in the kitchen, right?
Yes.
Yes, always. Female duets or male duets, Vanessa?
I dig me a female duet.
Hey!
Power to the ladies. Yes.
Samesies. All right, beaching it or hiking it?
I gotta say, beaching it.
Beaching it. Awesome. Love a little tan, little bronzing time.
Yes.
Yes. Long distance traveling or local adventures / road trips?
Long distance traveling.
Hey.
I love it. I live for it.
Traveling is life, isn't it? Yes. So, last question. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Ooh, I say yes. I say, you know
yeah.
what? If you dig it, you dig it. A little
Exactly.
sweet. I'm into it.
Sweet and salty, right? What's wrong with that?
Yeah, hello.
That is it, girlfriend. We're done. It was like 3.5, but it's okay. They were really hard questions. I should have warned you about how
I
hard
know.
they were.
I was taking my time.
How can you not? I mean, like, those, you know, very,
Some
very
of those questions were very specific to my experience.
Yes, they were. They were very specific for you. I definitely don't ask, you know, the mixing engineers if they like, you know, Josh Groban or Bocelli. This has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for your time. And can you give? Yes, thank you for being on my show. And
I like you. I want you to keep in touch.
yeah, definitely. Oh, I would love it. You're amazing. You're so inspiring, and I just. Oh gosh, I'm so excited for other students to plug into you and learn from you. I think you're an amazing role model and mentor for young people growing up.
Thank
you know,
you. That's the biggest honor. Like,
oh my gosh, and just think about how important your mentor was to you. Yeah, and having a good teacher and a good mentor is so important for young people, and it makes me happy that people will have access to you to teach them and guide them. You're such a beautiful soul and in person. So I wish you all the best on your journey, and please give our audience one last tool of advice that they can take with them on their journeys to help them stay strong and inspired.
I would say make mistakes. Tons of them. Don't be afraid of looking dumb or making a mistake because you tried. That is what teaches you. That is what makes you confident. That is what gives you all the things you need. All right? So don't ever be afraid to belt or try to take over the stage like, you know, like a crazy incredible pop star or whatever you want to try out. Do it 100%. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Those are the things that make you stronger. Yeah. Woo!
Woo! Amazing. Oh, thank you so much. Best advice ever. You guys, it's a wrap. This is Chameleon Cuts. Rock all your shades. And tune in with us next time for some more news and info and insider stuff from the industry. Cheers!
Yes.